Hello, church, and it's lovely to be here and to share some thoughts on our theme is Easter encounters, and the person I would like to talk about is Mary Magdalene. Very misunderstood at times, and she's portrayed as being a prostitute, but Scripture doesn't support that, and that's what I want to bring out. What does it support? She's mentioned 15 times in Scripture, in Matthew, Mark and Luke and John, in the accounts. Mary means bitter. It comes from the root word Mara. Magdalene, it wasn't her last name, it was where she came from. And it means tower or watchtower. And why I like those little play on words, because we will see in her life that the beginning was quite a bitter experience of her life. And going further on into later in her life, we see that the qualities of a tower and a watchtower played its part as well. What are the facts about her life? She was a woman who had been demon possessed, but became a believer, and the first person to see the resurrected Christ. That is factual aspect. What I want to look at in her life is 3 accounts. The events before the cross, the events at the cross, and the events after the cross. Let's look at the events before the cross. As I said earlier, Scripture says that she was a woman who had been delivered of 7 demons. She'd been bound, oppressed, not experiencing the full aspect of what life is. I don't know about if anybody's been in that aspect of situation or whatever, but it is a hard place, a lonely place and a confusing place to be. Yet at her conversion, when being delivered by the power of Jesus, she became a follower, a supporter and a contributor to the ministry of Jesus and the disciples. She followed him. What events can we see in Scripture about the cross? Scripture tells us that she was one of the women that was there and present at the crucifixion. Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of Joseph, was there. So there was a group of women, and she was one of them significantly. It must have been absolutely horrendous to see the one she loved, the one that redeemed her, the one that healed her, then see him be crucified the most torturous way. Yet what I like about her testimony is that she never left the cross. She remained at the cross. She remained at his side. Even when he had died, she stayed. Let's see after the events after the cross. We see also in the midst of that time that Joseph of Arimathea went and asked to take down the body of Jesus and to place him in his tomb. And what I loved about this was that when that occurred, he came, took the body down. She was there and she followed. She followed them and sat and watched where they were going to lay him, where they were going to place him. They watched, they waited, and then there were witnesses of the location, so that they knew beyond all shadow of a doubt that there was no confusion where they laid him, because they saw it. She went home, prepared spices and ointments for his body, but then the Sabbath came, so they had to rest by law. Early on the Sunday morning, they went to the tomb, both Marys and Salome. As I like it where as sun was rising or the dawn was dawning, that they were ready, willing, eager, and to do what they needed to do. I want to read an account of that in Matthew 28, 1-6. Now after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat on it. His countenance was like lightning, and his clothing was white as snow. And the guards shook for fear of him, and became like dead men. But the angel answered and said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He is risen. As he said, come, see the place where the Lord lay, and quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And indeed he is gone before you in Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you." So they went quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring the disciples the word. I really, really like that aspect of scripture, because the events of Mary Magdalene and the events of the resurrection, I love certain things of this part. Was one, there was an earthquake, creation in submission, and then an angelic visitation, that the angels were there as testimony that he rose from the dead, and a revelation of his resurrection. There were witnesses to that occurrence, both from creation and what the angelic angel had actually witnessed and saw. There was a part in one of the others one said, "Why are you looking among the dead for someone who's alive? He is risen." And I love that aspect of the encounter where Mary must have thought, whoa, what's happening? And she must have saw signs and wonders with Jesus before. But to see and to know and to witness that death did not hold him, that he has risen. Jesus has risen from the dead. What he foretold, he now accomplished. She saw, she heard, and she believed in the resurrection events of Jesus. But the garden tomb is not the end. The resurrection is the beginning, because the commission comes then. And the aspect of what I loved is that not only was she the first one to witness the resurrection of Christ, but she was one of the first one to be commissioned after the resurrection. The angel said, "Go tell the disciples of the resurrection." We too have got that commission, because Jesus had ascended, but he will return. We're in the time of grace. We are experiencing just like Mary Magdalene, commissioned with the gospel to spread it about, the truth and the encounter, what Christ has done for us. I hope that you've enjoyed Mary Magdalene, and I hope that you look through scriptures and see where she's mentioned in the 4 Gospels, because her testimony and her inspiration still speaks today. I just pray that God's blessing at you at this Easter time. Bye-bye. Thank you.